You are listening to Stages Podcast with Mary Lee Fairbanks and Stephanie J. Block. Welcome to Season 6. Here on Stages Podcast, we go behind the scenes and beyond the resume to explore the crossroads of creativity, spirituality, motherhood, and so much more. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the places. Give us 5 stars and a great review. It really helps us grow. Thanks for joining Stages Podcast, Season 6. Thank you so much for coming to chat with us.
Oh,
Good
thank you for
morning.
inviting me. Good morning, both of you.
I'm just looking behind you. Look at all the beauty. Is
Yeah.
lavender, purple, amethyst your color?
Yes, I love
Yes.
amethyst. And so I saw that amethyst heart. Is that what you're referring to? Or the wall?
Yes.
There's
The
a heart.
walls, the amethyst heart. I'm wondering if your pendant even is showing that.
It's actually the pendant, interestingly, it's a picture of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
I love her.
Oh,
I
I
love
love
her.
her.
I
Yes,
have
because
icons of her everywhere, actually, Anita.
oh wow, I love
Yes.
her. I'm not Catholic, but I just love her energy.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Thank you.
Stages, trusted as of somehow. Love where you are now.
Anita Moorjani is an author whose work has touched readers around the world. She's best known for her New York Times best-selling memoir, Dying to Be Me. In it, she shares a powerful story of illness, fear, near death, and awakening. It has inspired countless people to reimagine what it means to live with courage and authenticity. In her new book, Sensitive is the New Strong, she continues to write with honesty and grace about self-love, intuition, sensitivity, and the freedom that comes when we release fear. In 2006, Anita was diagnosed with end-stage lymphoma. It had spread, and she was riddled with tumors throughout her body. She fell into a coma, and her family was told that she had about 24 hours to live.
Mm.
While in the coma, she experienced an NDE, a near-death experience, and found herself surrounded by beings. Some were familiar, like her father and friend who had passed away years before. Others were benevolent spirits, helping her to understand the meaning of love and our existence here on earth. She awakened from her coma, and her grievously ill body began to spontaneously heal. In 4 days, her tumor shrank by 60%, and in 3 weeks, there was no trace of cancer in her body. Anita has been healthy now for 15 years. Her books are both gentle and profound. They
Mm.
offer readers not just a story of survival, but a reminder of the beauty, resilience, and wisdom that emerges from us when we truly begin to honor who we are and live with fearless authenticity.
Mm.
Please welcome Anita Moorjani.
Hooray!
Wow, wow.
I loved
Thank
your
you.
book. I loved it.
Oh, thank you. Thank
I,
you for that beautiful introduction. And which book did you read? Dying to Be Me or Sensitive
Yes.
as the... Oh, right,
I read
great.
Dying to Be
Yes.
Me twice, and I read Sensitive is the New Strong just in preparation for this interview. So, yeah. And I'm glad to hear you're working on a third one, too.
Your
I will
fourth
be
one.
buying it. A
A
fourth
Oh, it's
fourth
one.
one.
wonderful because there's one in between Dying to Be Me and Sensitive as the New Strong, and that's called What If This Is Heaven?
Oh,
How
yes, yes, yes.
how
That
did
one I
I
had
miss that?
earmarked. No, no, I have that one earmarked actually. And when you said, Mary Lee, when you said gentle and profound,
Mm.
I hope you received that, Anita, as intended, because to me that's exactly right. I was admittedly, I didn't read. I read with my ears. I did the audiobook. And your voice is this soothing tone. I likened it to Sigourney Weaver, where it's almost melodic and soothing, and like the heart rate comes down. Something changes molecularly as you're reading, but the words and the experiences that you're sharing with us are deep. I mean, they contain everything. They contain scary. with illness and what we perceive, as or our understanding of death and the pain our family experiences while our bodies are going through something. And then your reintroduction back onto earth, all of it was so impactful, meaningful, but yet told at such this even and balanced way. It's
Wow.
remarkable, really.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Actually, when she said gentle and profound, that really landed. I've never heard anybody describe it that way. And I got goosebumps in that
Good. You
moment.
feel she
So,
got it right too, because I feel like she got it just right. I'm writing it down. It
Well,
could be the title of the episode.
it's one of those feelings that you get. We've talked about this on other times, like with creativity and with spiritual moments in your life. When you try to grasp them, they disappear. They're so ethereal, and you can't quite hold on to that thing that you're trying to hold on to, which I'm sure, and that's how your book felt to me, that you were able to help us grasp that essence a little bit of that thing that cannot be fully described or fully held onto and internalized,
Mhm.
wow, that's
And with
so
that, can
helpful.
I
Thank you.
ask,
Yes.
how do you hold on to that
Yeah, that's what I
that
was going to say.
feeling of joy in this world? Your experience is singular, but you have now decided, and I'd love to discuss on that. You decided to come back into your um, illness riddled body. That was your choice to return. And yet you're in this world where we're all messy and we focus on the wrong things. And how do you hold on to whatever that heavenly experience was and keep that amongst the noise, the mess, and the fallible of the world?
And that is such a great question to start with because the world is particularly messy right now. And the thing is that so one of the reasons I share what I share, and I still share it so many years after it's happened, is because I don't believe people need to go through what I went through to experience that state and to have it here. And I felt that my mission, the purpose that I came back for, was to recreate that which I experienced there, to recreate it here and to hold on to it. And that is the challenge. It's holding on to that here
Yeah.
because this physical reality is very persistent. And when you're in that state, when I was outside of my body and I was experiencing what I was experiencing, that felt like the real state. That felt like, oh, I've woken up from the bad dream. That was such a bad dream down there. That is the illusion. Everybody is living this illusion. And this is what it really is. This is who we really are, all of us. And it felt like I was experiencing it, not just for me, but I was experiencing what the truth of who we all really are, that we are more powerful than we've led to believe. We have been duped into believing that we are all victims of our circumstances, and we have been fed a false narrative that leads us into fear. Because one of the biggest things I learned on the other side, I often talk about the biggest thing is I learned to love myself because I never knew I needed to love myself. But the other one of the biggest things is that the real disease I had was not the cancer, it was fear. I lived a lifetime of just perpetual fear. And when you look at the world today, what are we being fed all the time?
All the time.
Fear.
Fear, fear, fear.
Just fear,
Yeah.
fear, fear.
I haven't put the
And
news on since 2020. I won't
I
be in a
don't
room with
blame
it.
you.
I will not
Yeah.
do it because it's not even, most of it isn't even real. The
No.
parts that are real are not fully fleshed out. And it's fear mongering. That's all it is. And rage inducing, and it's almost that whoever they are, we're kept in this state because it's impossible to grow from that state. And Steph and I have talked about this lots of times, together just in girlfriend conversations, like, how do we just keep focusing on the good? Like, just focus on the light, just put good out in the world, and where it's meant to shine, it will shine. And that's all you can do because we're pretty powerless to anything else, to be
It,
influencing in any other way.
And I have found that the seed for me that leads me to the state of light and joy is always gratitude. In
Yes.
this day and age, I'm almost carrying, as silly as this might sound, guilt in finding gratitude and beauty in the state that we're all living in. Do you know what I mean? How do we make the change? But we sit in the figuring out what we can do as opposed to sitting in the I'm grateful for, I'm able-bodied, I have this. Let's move through it not in anger. Let's not plan out of anger or fear or resentment, but out of abundance and love and joy. Like I have a awesome friend, and he just keeps saying, joy is the resistance. Joy is the resistance.
Yes,
They
he's
don't
right.
want us to be joyful in this moment. And so if we show joy, they're not getting us. And that is the biggest fight. And they'll feel defeated if we still carry that with us in our day.
He's absolutely right. He really is. And I don't know if he realizes how profound what he's saying is, but he's absolutely right. And I'll tell you why. Because, so there's a couple of things here. This is a beautiful segue into what I want to say about the topic you've opened with. So, first of all, when you are outside of your body, and I don't recommend people do this, but if but one day when you leave the planet, you will realize that actually our energy selves, our being, our spirit, our soul, whatever we want to call it, that is the more powerful part of us. That is the bigger part of us. And that is the part that actually influences our life. It influences the people around us. My energy is connected to yours. We don't even need to be in the same room, but us talking to each other, we start to entrain ourselves with each other. And if one of us is depressed, grumpy, angry, it will bring the energy of all three of us down. But if we are invested in uplifting each other, it uplifts the energy around us exponentially, and it's going to alter the course of our day. It's going to alter the course of the day of people we encounter because we carry this energy with us where we go. So when we buy into all the fear, 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 that's what we're carrying with us. That's what we're spreading. We are helping to spread that fear, share that fear. We are being divisive when we carry that rage with us, which is what's being spread. Because social media and mainstream media, that's how they get you hooked. They get you raging. But when you are raging, you become divisive. You hate on people. The more divided you are, the easier you are to control.
Right.
But when you don't buy into that, because I always tell people, fear sells. Don't buy it. Don't
Yes.
buy it, because there's always an agenda behind it. Your agenda is to create the best possible life you can. So you have to treat it like you're living in two worlds, and you always have the choice as to which world you want to live in. And that's what I found when I came back, when I came out of the coma, when I came out from the other world. I wasn't completely out of the other world. It was like I had one foot on each side. And that's when I started to realize, oh, wow, that world that I feel I just came from felt realer than this one. This world is the illusion. And my biggest wish for everybody on the planet is to be able to see through the illusion of fear. So I call this three-dimensional world the world of fear, and that multi-sensory, multi-dimensional world that's beyond 3 dimensions, I call that the world of love. Because in that world, we're all connected. We see through the fear. We realize there's no reason to divide ourselves. There's no reason to actually spread fear. What do we gain out of it? We're setting ourselves back as a whole. When you're in that world, you realize we're all connected and we evolve as one organism. You know, we could evolve so much faster if we collaborated instead of competed. We would evolve so much faster if we expanded our energies and uplifted each other instead of trashing and raging at people and seeing
Judging.
everyone as an enemy and judging
Right.
people. And when you really understand that you are energy first, And when you deplete your energy by being in this anger, rage, hatred, divisiveness, fear-based space, you are diminishing your own energy, you're inviting illness into your body,
Yeah.
and you are spreading that to the people around you. And it is the collective of this whole energy that creates all the wars, the hunger, the famine. You know, people often say, and I'm going to say this, I don't get political. I don't care who people voted for, because all of us are going to die. And when you die, you're going to realize that, oh my gosh, I could have done things so differently. I should have loved more. I prioritized what wasn't important. It will happen to all of us. But what I want to say is, when people blame one person for all the problems of the world, when they say, oh, it's this political leader or that political leader, and we put all our blame and we're all victims of something, it's actually not one person. It is an environment that has been created by all of us that actually allowed this one person to get into power. What is it that we've created? What can we create differently? So the other thing I tell people is that it takes a lot of energy to fight against what is, and it depletes people. What I would rather do, and it's great that some people are fighting, protesting against unfairness and all. We need those people. And if it makes you feel good to do that, do that. But if it's depleting you to do that, there is another way that really works for people who are tired of everything that's happening. I want you to focus on the world you would like to see instead. What would you like to see instead? And start walking towards that. Start building that, working with people towards creating what you would like to see instead. So when you're quietly creating something else that's more beautiful, more all-encompassing, more loving, more rewarding, more empathic, that has more compassion, you will attract people that are like you, and together you can expand that exponentially.
Stages Podcast will be right back after a word from our sponsor. So earlier we were saying, you know, it's they want us to be distracted. They want us to feel who is they? So what is it that, is it just that energy that you were just speaking of? Is it the they that we've created through fear? And my other question is, why is this the case? Is Earth, is this life like a school? Like, are we supposed to come here and get to the lessons that you're trying to teach? And that's the point of being here? Are we supposed to take something, learn something, go through something? And for what reason? If it's all on the other side? That's what I want to know. That's an easy question, so go ahead.
Just a couple of really easy questions.
Simple.
So I'm going to give you my take on it. And I want to, I don't want to preface this by saying, people may or may not agree with it, and that's okay. But I'm going by what I sensed and felt and the reason why we are here, just from my own experience of, being kind of encouraged, shall I say, to come back. I feel that somewhere along the way, we as humanity actually took a wrong turn. And that's my sense. And I feel that a whole lot of us are currently realizing that and are trying to help people by changing that. And you among them. I'm talking about this new generation of people who are doing podcasts, who have taken such a big interest in the afterlife and near-death experiences, and more people are experiencing near-death experiences. I'm feeling this is happening to help to awaken more and more people into seeing that as a race, humanity has taken a wrong turn somewhere. And we have placed our priorities on the wrong things. And I think what happened is that there are a handful of people. Interestingly, I don't see it as a lot of people. This not so big group of people have managed to convince a whole lot of people, and they have created a world that serves them and as we start to take our power back, as people are waking up and realizing, oh my gosh, I'm not a victim. I have my own power. I have the ability to create my life. I think the powers that be are fighting back harder to hold on to the old ways. That's kind of how I see it. But I do feel more and more people are waking up. Unfortunately, what's happened is that we have built a system that is totally reliant on money, on finances. And so what's happened is that the very few who control the most of the finances appear to control the world. And that's where, when we buy into the fear of the not having enough money and so on,
Right.
we are falling into that fear. And that fear is in everything. It seeps into everything, like even in our medical system. Our medical systems are very, very finance based. It's not really about healthcare, it's about what makes money.
Big pharma, yeah.
It's big pharma. And so all of it is run by money, not run for the care of people, not run. So the healthcare system isn't really a healthcare system. It doesn't actually care about people or the health. It
And
cares about profits.
those systems pay government workers to keep things the way it is because they profit. That's how it works.
But what
Right?
I'm hearing is if we change our priorities, we strip them of their power. Then they
Yes.
don't have that power over us.
Ex-
If we say money is not the goal,
Yes.
or, these consumer ideas are not the goal, then they've got nothing over us.
100%. That's exactly right. Now, I'm just going to give you, I use analogies because it's very hard to put into words, ask people to use their imagination. So you have to use your imagination here. And I'm going to use a little analogy. I want you to pretend that you can see energy, people's energy, right? So just pretend you can see everybody's energy. And when you can see their energy or their auras or whatever we want to call it, and you notice some people's energies are really big, and you'll notice some are really small and tiny. And the ones with almost no energy, and we'll call it life force energy, those are the ones that deal with illnesses and things like that. Now, you might think that their energy is small because they're ill. It's the other way around. Anybody can expand their energy. And if you know how to expand your energy and you keep it expanded, your body will become healthy, and it will and it will have more resources to heal when you do things that could deplete you. So the idea is to have a bigger energy. Now, people don't realize that if every single person knew that our greatest resource is our personal life force energy, and our priority was to build a life that increased our life force energy, our life would work incredibly well, and it would help other people without us having to put a lot of effort into helping people, because your very energy would uplift people. You would lift people, they would attract things to them. But because we don't realize that, and we put all our efforts into trying to earn money, thinking that there isn't enough to go around, where we feel we have to compete with other people and take from other people in order to have more for ourselves and keep taking. What we don't realize is that very act, that rat race we have created around money, is actually depleting our energy, where our energy is actually our greatest resource. Those who know this little secret and focus on increasing energy, you will do great. And that's the secret. That's the biggest secret. And my new book is called Secrets from the Afterlife, where
When
I
is that
share
coming
bits
out?
Oh, not till next year.
Oh, Anita.
I know. I know.
Write faster.
But yes, that scarcity mindset is going to set you back even further. It's just going to keep taking from you rather than, we always
Yes.
talk about acting through inspiration rather than desperation. people can sniff out desperation. The universe can sniff out
Yes.
desperation. And sadly, it works against each other. You know, it is not going to reward something that is desperate. It will reward something, like you put it, the life source, but that inspiration will be, if it's not recognized, it will bring to you people who are so intrigued by it or attracted, whether they know it or not. And it perpetuates. It
Yeah.
keeps making more and more and more.
But we
Yeah.
are
Exactly.
we're tiptoeing into a space here that I think is a good one to talk about. It can very easily enter into that toxic
Oh, yeah.
positivity space,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Where we just think, well, think good thoughts and, but it's not just about
It's
that.
not
It's
that.
about matching your action to that energy.
Yep.
And my motto is one thing every day. I do one thing every day to work towards something that I desire or that I'm dreaming of. And one thing every day. And so there's a balance. You don't want it to be all work and outcome, and you don't want it to be just positive thinking that sure, everything great will happen, because it requires that, teeter totter of both has to work together.
So here's what I talk about to help people to not get into that toxic positivity. Um, I always ask people, how does this make you feel? How does it make you feel? It's not the thinking, it's what are you feeling inside. So, in other words, somebody who is really sick, it's not about thinking yourself into health. So I'm just giving you that as an example because I experienced being really very, very ill. And people say, did you just think you were well, or what happened? Did your mind heal it? No, it wasn't that. It's how you actually feel and your desire to move forward. So, in other words, when I came out of the near death experience, I knew I was already well, but my body had to catch up.
Hmm.
So, what would it take for you to know you are already there? It's not thinking about it, it's not imagining it, it's acting or being or living as if you are already there. So, when I have somebody in front of me who's dealing with an illness, this is actually what I tell them. I actually say, if you had a clean bill of health today, what would you do to celebrate? Go and do that. Now I want you to plan your life and start living it like a healthy person and have something to look forward to every day. Talk as if you have your whole life ahead of you. Get your family on board. Get into an environment where people are talking about your future and they're not talking to you like a sick person.
I know this is okay to say, but Steph, this is what you did when you got pregnant.
I know I'm smirking, Anita, and I'm going to
Yeah.
share this with our listeners. My pregnancy journey, I found the love of my life quite late. I was already in my mid 30s. I didn't really start to think about having a family until I was about 37. We tried all the, natural approaches, Chinese medicine, fertility doctors. And 5 years into it, I was going through another, process with hope. So I thought, I thought I was hopeful to have a child. And Mary Lee actually invited my husband and I to go to Rwanda. And my doctors all thought I was mad. They said, you're 41, going on 42 years old. You are on this pregnancy journey. You cannot stop the treatments. You cannot stop coming in here once a week. We have to keep the rhythm, the cycle, the temperatures, all the things. And I said, no, no, this is a once in a lifetime chance. And I really believe I have to go. So I went and I left my OBGYN, my fertility doctors, and I went and just saw my general practitioner, who is this world traveler. He's a little woo-woo. He's both medical doctor and spiritual doctor at the same time, which I love.
I love
And
that.
he says to me, he said, are you pregnant? And I was deflated and I said, I don't think so. And he says, okay. It breaks my heart every time you come in here and I see your whole energy shift and you say, no, I don't think so, when you don't know. You could be. And I, as a scientific doctor, can't give you any of the vaccinations for the trip to Africa, right? The CDC will not allow me to do that because you have a possibility of being pregnant. I don't want to tell you not to go to Africa, but I wouldn't advise going there without the proper precautions. So do me a favor. For the next 2 weeks, you walk around this world like you are pregnant. If you're on the subway and it's full, you ask to sit down because you're going to have a baby. If you're in Starbucks and there's a line at the restroom, you say, "Do you mind if I go up front because I'm pregnant?" Now, this was not immaculate conception, everybody. I didn't just create a baby by thinking. There were, practical elements to it. But within 2 weeks, I went back and he said, "Guess what? You are pregnant." Now, I joke, I say I'm the greatest actress in the world because I actually created a pregnancy. But there is
I
something
love it. There
about
is.
it. There is something
Yeah.
about embracing the idea. So it does start with a thought or a manifestation, but it goes beyond that. It's then opening the heart, the spirit. It's telling the world, not just telling, but almost thanking them in advance for the blessing that you have already given me, because I was able to release all of the hardships, the
Yes.
expectations, the past disappointments, and just accept this is what my life is going to be. This is what it's going to be, period.
Yes, yes, I love this. I love your doctor and I love this story so much because this is exactly what I tell people who come to me, who talk to me, or write in. This is what I tell them at events. People who are dealing with an illness. Stop living like a sick person. Stop living like this is who you are and you have no other future beyond this, and you have no future unless you can kick this illness. No, live like you are a well person. Start now. Start creating your future as a well and healthy person. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? And it shifts them, because what it does, even in your case, it shifts your energy.
Yes.
It completely shifts your energy, and your energy is what creates your life. Now, energy is like it's such a generic word. I wish there was a better word, but it shifts your life force energy, and that is actually what creates life. When people say to me, "Could you explain to me how did your body heal so fast?" I said, I was, I already knew I was healed, and so it shifted my energy. So I was literally vibing at a different level than when my energy was that of a sick person. It's got nothing to do with your physical body. It's to do with where your energy is vibing. And I know that sounds so woo-woo. It really sounds woo-woo where your energy is vibing. But it is with you knowing with every fiber of your being, and because you're acting it like you were, Stephanie, you were acting it, you believed you were pregnant and it manifested.
And please know, listeners and watchers, that if you are fighting an illness or if you are having difficulty getting pregnant, this is not your fault. This is not what we're saying.
Yes, I'm
We
glad
all
you said
just
that.
collectively are saying that beyond the physical, if you believe what you can't see, there is this marriage between whatever this energy, and we do all wish there was a more specific, nuanced word, but there is this energy, and then there is the worldly, and it's so easy and air quotes natural to feel of this world, but there is a connective tissue that may not miraculously heal you or miraculously allow you to have a baby, but that shift sure changes your perspective, the way you go forth every day in life, even with the sickness in you, even with whatever might be empty, the outcome will still be positive because of this energy source that you're tapping into. Yes?
Yes.
And I also think too, if we make contracts before we come, right? And if we've made a contract where this particular illness and even if you don't survive the illness, there will be lessons that come out of that illness. And that was a
Yes.
contract that you had with others in your life and others around you. And so it's not about like blaming the victim of the illness. I remember
Exactly.
I got thyroid cancer, and I study the chakras and yoga, and I teach all that stuff. So for me, I was like trying to sort of understand like why the thyroid. I'm a singer, how interesting that it's my throat. And what I realized was ever since I was little, I would take a very chaotic childhood and I would channel it into song. That was how I got that energy out of my body. I would sing, and it just became my habit. And then it became my job and my career. And then one day I had my child and I stopped. I just stopped singing. And it was just because I was busy. I started writing, I started doing other forms of expression. But I feel a part of that was the energy rose up to get expelled, like always, but it didn't go out, and it got stuck, and the energy was stuck there. Now, there's that, but there's also the fact that I lived in the World Trade Center, red zone, right? So nothing is one thing, everything is many things. But energy, I believe, plays a huge part. And I think in one of your books, and you'll have to correct me because I'm probably going to quote it wrong, but you say our life force is so powerful that when we don't express it, when we don't use it to our advantage, that is when it gets stuck and begins to turn into something negative. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes. So I definitely know what you are referring to, and it is you've got it pretty correct. I do say that our life force, all of us, we are so powerful, and we always have a choice as to how we want to express that life force. But when we completely repress it, particularly if we beat ourselves up and think that I'm not deserving or worthy to be heard, like my voice isn't important, who am I to express myself? Particularly when we're judging and beating ourselves up, and that's why we are quietening our voice and repressing ourselves, then it starts to express itself either through an illness, like it's our bodies start to rebel against this repression, or through having a bad temper and lashing out and maybe even committing a crime. And so there are ways it's going to come out somehow. So the thing is that it's to realize that this life force energy, this soul, this spirit that's come to express itself through this body, through this space and time, it needs to express itself. And it's also to realize that this spirit or soul is, after all, an expression. It's spirit. It's an expression of source, of God, of love. We can call it what we want. But when we think that, oh, who do we think we are to express ourselves, or my voice shouldn't be heard, and I don't want to be heard, and who am I? When we're judging ourselves, we're actually denying that source, that love, that piece of God, that aspect of God from expressing itself. And so it's not a punishment when things happen. If our body starts to manifest an illness or something, it's not a punishment. And again, I'm not blaming the victim. When somebody has an illness, it's definitely not your fault. So I'm glad you brought that up, Stephanie. But what I do want people to know is that you're not a victim, but you can actually change the trajectory of your life. In other words, most people who feel like a victim of their illnesses, they want an outside person, a medical practitioner, to fix them. And when the medical practitioner then says, this is it, this is all we can do, that person then thinks, I'm going to die. This is where I want you to know, just because medicine doesn't have anything for you doesn't mean you're going to die. There's still a lot that you can do to explore why you got sick, how you can heal. You can create a wellness trajectory. So that's what I want people to know, is that you're not a victim. I'm an advocate for taking responsibility for your wellness. It's okay to get some help when you are really sick and you don't know what to do about it. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor, don't do what they say. I would go if I needed life support, if I was dying, if I was in an accident. We need the doctors. But I do also tell people, take some responsibility for your wellness and because there's so much that we can do. And there's so much that's not taken into consideration, because having understood, having had terminal cancer, having gone to the other side and come back, I really do realize that there is so much that we can do to reverse or create a wellness trajectory, which a doctor cannot do because they don't have that level of control over our lives.
Stages podcast will be right back, so don't go away. I have a question about, when you passed over, you spoke about there not being such a thing as time, like linear time, that you
Yes.
were witnessing what was happening in the room, what was happening in the hall, watching your brother fly over to come to
To
you
Hong Kong. Yes, he
yeah.
was coming from India. Yes.
But simultaneously seeing other lives that you had lived with your brother or were living with your brother. I find the thought of multiple timelines really fascinating. And I wonder if, manifestation is almost just tapping into some of those timelines where there's an alternate life that you are living and you can tap into that life and sort of jump timelines. I don't know if that's a real thing. Sometimes I like to think about it, but when you came out of that, if there isn't linear time, can you describe what time is and what alternate timelines are?
So this is a really challenging subject to explain, but this is what it felt like. I can tell you what it felt like when I was outside of my body. It felt like when I'm not locked in to this body, focused in this time and space to this life with this family and these circumstances, I was outside of my body, I could access multiple lives that I had lived on different timelines, past, present, and future, but they were all available to me. And it was like I could access information from any of those lives to learn or to get information that could help me to live this one or to understand this life better, which led me to believe that maybe through meditation or just deep, quiet, deep journey work, I could access that information even when I'm in this life, in this timeline. And here's what it felt like, again, using an analogy, is that if you imagine that you are in an apartment building, you're in one apartment, and you can only be in one place at one time in this apartment, and you're walking throughout the apartment, and let's say you've never been outside the apartment, so you don't know how big is this building you're in, how tall it is, how many other apartments there are. But one day, for the first time, you leave the apartment and you're outside, you're down on the street. And for the first time, you can see that this building has 8 stories, and you walk around and you can see there's 4 apartments per floor. For the first time, you can see all these apartments at the same time, all the floors at the same time, because you're outside of the timelines. And you're like, oh, if I want information from that one or that one, I just kind of have to go there and drop into there. But when you're inside one of them,
We can't even
you
picture
can
it.
be, yeah, you can't even picture it. You don't even know how many there are, and you're locked inside one of them. That's kind of how it felt like. But you can only be in one at a time, or when you're in physical body awareness, you can only be aware of one at a time. But when you're outside of physical awareness and you're in non-physical awareness, you're like, oh, look at all those apartments. And I have been in all of them, but I don't remember them. I'm only aware of the one that I'm in at that moment in time.
What made you choose to come back into your body or go back into the one apartment? Was it Danny? Was it knowing that your purpose? What was it that said, Anita, go back to the body? If you're euphoric and you're seeing on the street level all of the apartments and you have all the knowledge, what would pull you back to the, as you would say, the one-dimensional world of fear? Why?
Because in that moment, well, first of all, I was being encouraged to come back because I was being told that I hadn't completed my purpose yet, but I wasn't being forced to come back. And I felt it was my dad who was telling me that. And I was also understanding that if I chose to come back, now that I knew who I truly was, which means I was not a physical body, I was so much more, that my body would heal very, very quickly. And I understood that because no part of me wanted to come back to a sick body at first. No part of me. I was like, I had been suffering, my family had been suffering, and it was so amazing there. But then I started to understand, oh, you're going to heal very, very quickly. And you haven't completed your purpose yet. Then I started to understand that my husband Danny and my purpose was linked. And if I didn't come back, he would, there would be an exit for him soon where he would also cross over. Now, at first, I didn't even think that was a bad thing because he would just come and join me there.
In Euphoria. Yeah.
In Euphoria. So, how is that a bad thing? But that's when I started to realize, and I was being encouraged. And everything is telepathic there. It's not verbal. It's an understanding. But I did feel a lot of it was kind of coming from my dad, where I was getting this understanding that I was getting a chance to relive something that I didn't get a chance to before. And the message I kept getting was, all you have to do is go back and live your life fearlessly. Now, here's the piece. During my life, it was my dad who had instilled fear in me.
Yes.
It was because of my dad that I had this fear of disapproval, of failure. I'd never earned my dad's approval. I had always felt that I had shamed him as a daughter, and
Well, your
there were a lot
culture
of things.
dictated what was right and proper and what you were meant to do, yes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had a broken arranged engagement, and it wasn't supposed to be an arranged marriage that I'd broken off, and there were all kinds of things that, because I was multicultural, my parents are Indian, where I felt I was constantly letting my dad down. I felt that he probably would have preferred a son, because in our culture, there was, at least at that time in my community, a lot of gender disparity. So I had always felt that I had to win people's approval. I always had a fear of disappointing people, of failing. Everything I did was out of a fear of disapproval. And I feared everything. And so I felt my dad had instilled fear in me throughout my life. And now in death, because my dad had died 10 years prior, and here he was on the other side. In death, it was my dad that released me from that fear and said, all you have to do is go and live your life fearlessly. And it was almost like I was getting the second chance to live life without fear, but also the fact that I had a purpose and I didn't even know. For me, I'd lived a completely what I thought was a purposeless life. But when I made the decision to come back, and it was really because Danny's and my purpose was linked, and we still had something to do together, that I finally said, okay, I'll come back. And that's when my eyes started to open on my physical body that was lying there in the hospital bed. And I started to come out of it. And from that moment, I started to say to the people around me, Dad is here. For a long time, I was living in two worlds. I had one foot on this side, one foot on the other. And people were saying, oh, it's the meds messing with her head. But I started to tell them things that took place while I was in the coma, which I shouldn't have known. I was telling them about conversations that they were having with doctors outside the room. I was naming doctors whose names I shouldn't have known because they had not come in the room and I'd never seen them before I went in the coma. And everybody realized something had happened and they were really shocked. And then my body started to heal so quickly. And I started to see everything that I was aware of on the other side, where I was told this, your body's going to heal really fast. You have this purpose. It's going to unfold. You don't have to figure it out. You just have to live your life fearlessly. I started to see it actually pan out.
Have you met with other NDE folks and sort of compared experiences? And what is that like if you have?
I have. So for me, when I came back from this NDE experience, it was really hard to integrate. My husband, Danny, it was almost like he experienced it with me, but he was pretty much almost the only person I could share it with. And my brother, who had flown to be by my side before I died. So he knew what had happened. My mom knew what had happened. And this was like just a close nucleus of people who were right there with me, who were part of the whole experience of me being in the coma, thinking I was dying. They were all crying, and then me coming out of it and then being shocked. And then I told them what happened, and they all, of course, related to it, believed me. They said, it has to be something divine but it was hard to integrate into the rest of the world. People said, wow, you're lucky you had a spontaneous remission. But when I would try to explain what I experienced on the other side and what I saw unfolding, people said, oh no, that was just the drugs messing with your head. And oh no, you've got to start adjusting into real life, get back to real life. To me, real life was now different because I had seen a different reality.
But us
was
mere
real life.
mortals didn't know. We don't know that, Anita. We're so frustrating because we're just earthly humans.
And so I would try to explain it, but I realized I had to go into a cocoon for a while because I didn't want to come across as condescending or special or more superior. I certainly wasn't trying to do that because I didn't think I was special. I felt this was something anybody can access if only they knew. If they knew. And the way to access it is to actually elevate your energy and do things that bring you joy, make you happy, have a passion for life, feel like you're in love with life again, be euphoric. That's how I was feeling. And it was in that euphoric state of, wow, I experienced something. That euphoric state is what made my body heal so fast. And so I started to think, wow, maybe if people who are sick could get into a euphoric state, they would heal faster. How do they get into euphoric state? It's about getting excited about life again. And so I started to reverse engineer and I started to talk about this. In the early days, people said, oh yeah, you're being delusional and I'm not going to tell my sister or my mother who's dying of cancer that all she has to do is get into a euphoric state. So I was being dismissed a lot. But what started to happen is I actually started to see my life unfold and my story got discovered. But talking to your question about NDEs, what saved my life was that my brother discovered a forum online that was called the Near-Death Experience Research Foundation. And they had an online forum, and it was for people who had had near-death experiences. Now, I didn't even know that what I experienced was an NDE, a near-death experience. I didn't even have a label for it because I had what doctors call a spontaneous healing. But when I started reading some of the near-death experiences on this website, I thought, oh my gosh, what I experienced was so similar. I was expanded. I could see, hear, and feel. There was like so many similarities. So I submitted my story to this website and they published it right away. And it just so happened that the owner of the website was an oncologist. And so he was super interested in my story and he asked to see some of my medical records. And he said, this is incredible. And he put my story on the home page of his website because he wanted everybody to read it. And he said, this is the first I've seen where somebody had a spontaneous healing as a result of an NDE. And I said, does it actually classify as an NDE? And he goes, absolutely. You were near death. You had all the traits. And so then the story went viral. And then it was discovered by Wayne Dyer. And he got his publishers to reach out to me. And for those who don't know, Wayne Dyer is like a spiritual teacher, guru who has now passed to the other side. But he had he sold like 55 million books in 40 languages. And so he had his publisher reach out to me and they invited me to write a book. I literally got a book deal land on my desk in my email. And my life just completely changed. And everything that I saw on the other side, where you don't need to figure it out. You have a bigger purpose. You have a mission. Just share your story. Just share it fearlessly. Now, for me, going out there in public, sharing my story, writing books, going on stage, that would have been my biggest fear, my biggest fear ever. I was not this person that I am today, but I love doing what I do. Obviously, I am this person. I'm more this person than the person who got sick. So, but it just unfolded by itself.
I read this little statement that made me giggle. It said, if you're not feeling ready, that's okay, because ready is not a feeling. Go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right? That's not a
perfect.
feeling. It's not a joy, a sadness, an anger. Ready isn't that. Go do it. Try it.
Stages podcast will be right back after a word from our sponsor. It feels like to me that the world is more open to these sort of experiences now. And I don't know if it's one of the positive things about having internet and we're all so connected in this way, but it feels like, years ago, someone talked about experiencing a UFO or UPA or whatever we call them now. They were
Yeah,
kind of shunned and made to feel crazy.
Yeah,
But
cuckoo.
now we're talking
exactly.
about it because it's for real, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, even Jane Goodall, I heard her talking about Bigfoot, like, why wouldn't it exist? Like, tribes have these sightings of tailless monkeys that are 6 feet tall, and so it feels like the parameters that sometimes get put around stories like yours by, prove it, that sort of feeling like, well, did doctors prove your spontaneous healing? And is it documented? And that kind of thing seems to matter less now. And what matters
Yes,
more now is that people feel just open to the truth that there is something else. And that even though we can't picture it in our mind's eye, because you can't picture what you don't know yet, it's like you don't know what's outside the apartment building,
yes,
that there's an openness that did
there
not
is.
exist maybe 50 years ago. So is that human evolution? I mean, even like with the telepathy tapes, which we talk about a lot on this show,
Oh,
and
We
things like that, like people feel more open and
more
fearless
curious.
about, yes, more curious about
Hmm.
exploring these kinds of things. So is
yes.
that, in your opinion, is that like a human evolution? Is that part of fighting this darkness of the few people in control that have kept us fearful? What's your take on all that?
I think it is part of evolution. I think more and more people are waking up. I think I'm also going to say I think we're getting more and more help from the other side. I really do feel that they are making themselves, like whether it's in the form of UAPs or just spiritual experiences, what everything that is beyond this physical is making itself more known because it's time. Because otherwise, we could be on the brink of our own extinction if they don't make it more
Right.
and more urgent. When this happened to me in 2006, people were not as open as they are today.
Yeah.
A lot of people, so even though the doctors said I did have a spontaneous remission, and it is documented that it happened within a number of weeks, people were still hung up. People who were reading, I do have the medical documentation, but you still have debunkers who will be debunkers, and particularly at that time, because it's inconvenient to believe what I just said. It goes against everything that they do or believe in or buy into, that it has to be the chemotherapy. I did have chemotherapy, but but the doctors that really studied my case said there is no way that all those cancer cells could have left your body so quickly. That it should have taken months and months. I'd literally gone from a stage 4B terminal on my deathbed, open skin lesions, tumors the size of golf balls, and fluid in my lungs weighing 85 pounds, emaciated, to completely cancer free in 3 weeks. And this is where, and it's documented. It's
Well, and all your
documented.
organs were shutting down too, and that
Yes,
reversed itself,
and they
which,
all reversed itself.
right.
And so the people who are the doctors and scientists, of whom there are more of today that are open, are asking the question, what flicked the switch inside you that caused that to happen? The ones who are purely material scientists are the ones who are not open to a question like that. They're like, oh, it's a spontaneous remission. That happens sometimes. But the ones who are open are like, okay, what flicked the switch? And that opens the door for me to talk about and explain what I experienced, what went through. And so even when doctors or certain scientists or debunkers will say, that doesn't mean you experienced the other side. That was just the meds messing with your mind.
Right.
And what I say is, what does it matter? If the body healed, shouldn't we be looking at how to replicate it so that more
Right.
people can heal? That's why I share my story. That's why I share it over and over, because I want more people to experience it. And I don't want them to get to the point I got to. I don't want people to have to get that sick and have an NDE. And I think they can save themselves that, because if I knew then what I know now from this experience, I would never have gotten sick in the first place.
Now, the next on my reading queue is What If This Is Heaven, which, after having this conversation with you, seems like a little bit of a contradiction from a woman who has been on the other side. So, can you connect for
Yes.
me that sort of understanding? What if this earthly place is actually heaven from someone who's seen the euphoria on the other side?
So, one of the reasons I came back was because the understanding was that part of my mission was to create or to experience or experiment with creating that state over here. And that was why, that's a big reason why I came back, was to do it for myself, learn how to do it for myself, and then be an example for other people that you can create that here. And this world is not supposed to be a hellish place. Because one of the things I learned on the other side is there's no hell. People think that, oh, when you die, you either go to heaven or hell. No, the hell and the heaven and all that is here. It's right
Yeah.
here. We create it for ourselves. And so many people have created a living hell, but we can create the opposite. And that's what this book is about.
That does feel a bit like Christ conscious that, religion is the one who has told us, follow the rules, do good, and then you get your reward in the afterlife as
Or your
opposed to,
punishment. Or
or
your
your
Yes.
punishment in the
And that's what
afterlife,
I used to believe.
as opposed to it's already, the divine is already inside you. I am raised Catholic Christian, but those are the words of Jesus. It's here. You carry the
Yeah.
church within you. You
Yeah,
are the
you
hands
are
and
God.
feet of Christ. That's
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right. That's right.
I remember when my
And
dad was passing away, we had this conversation in the middle of the night, and he was afraid. He was afraid that he was going to be punished. And I said, it doesn't work that way. No one's going to punish you on the other side for mistakes that you made. He's like, how do you know? I said, I don't know. I just know. And I'll bet you that I'm right. And we had this whole bet that he would come back if he could and give me a sign, which he actually did. And if I were right, he said, I'll tell you, if you're right, I'm going to figure out a way to come back and show you this sign. And he did. And so I never believed that there was this outside source that was going to punish or reward us. I think it's true. Like, we create the reward in front of us, but it doesn't
Yes.
mean, like, even if you're, saying like this is heaven, it doesn't mean you don't get frustrated with the new computers and the bills you got to
Oh,
pay
sure.
and the 6
Yes.
auditions you went on last week and didn't even get a call back for any of them. You know what I mean?
that's right.
All that stuff is still there, but your reaction to it becomes empowered when you believe that this is already heaven that we're living in. And
Yeah.
and it's not that you won't keep falling off that little cliff. I fall off it daily, right? But I'm constantly trying to remind myself my reaction to it is the only thing I can control.
Exactly, exactly. And it doesn't mean I don't fall off that cliff, even though I've had this experience. And just, I wanted to share what happened, like the first time Wayne Dyer invited me to be on stage with him, which really sums it up for me as to what that experience is like versus this one. Now, remember, I grew up as somebody that was always subservient, people pleaser, doormat, all those things.
I hear you. Anita, I'm
Yes.
so with you on that. Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I used to be a very shy person. I could never imagine myself speaking publicly and doing the things I'm doing today. So then, my Wayne Dyer discovers my story. My book gets published. He writes the foreword to my book, and I was living in Hong Kong, and this is 2012. And Hay House, the publishers, they then fly me to Los Angeles to appear on stage with Wayne Dyer. So I'm there in Pasadena at this big auditorium, and I'm in the front row seat, and Wayne is on stage. There's an audience of 3,000 people, and it's being live streamed to thousands more. And then he starts talking to the audience. He goes, and there's this woman in Hong Kong, and he starts sharing my story, who is dying from terminal cancer. And then she has this NDE, and then he goes, and she recovers, but wait. And he goes, but wait, why am I telling the story? We flew her here to tell you the story herself. Anita Moorjani, come up on stage. So I get up on this stage, and I'm standing there looking at 3,000 people. And I am so scared, and I get handed this mic, and I'm shaking, and I'm starting to tell the story. And then and Wayne is going, come on, Anita, share this. There's 3,000 people here waiting for you to share it, and there's thousands more on live stream. And of course, him saying that makes it
That's
even
not
worse.
helping.
It's not helping at all.
That doesn't help, Dwayne.
No. And so I'm like quivering. And then he goes, what have you got to be scared about? You've been dead and back.
It's
And
true.
yeah, but then that's when I said, being dead is easy. Public speaking is hard. And that's the truth of it. Being here is hard. Being dead is easy. People who are dying, people who have crossed over, they're fine. It's us that has to deal with being here.
It's really true. Well, this has been such a joy to chat with
Fascinating.
you.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read. I'm going to go back and read the What If This Is Heaven book. And then I can't wait to read next book, which I'm sure I will devour. We'll be right back with the 5 questions. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Of course.
What is your favorite sandwich?
Ooh, wow. Okay, so one of my favorite sandwich fillings is avocado. So avocado and anything. So I love avocado and egg with tomatoes and lettuce and and cream cheese.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Give us 3 micro joys that you've experienced today.
I experienced, first of all, coming on this podcast. That's been,
thank you.
I felt really joyful and upbeat talking to the two of you all the way through. It's really amped up my energy so much, and I'm going to carry that with me today. So that's a big one.
Well, that makes me happy.
Me too.
And it's the truth. And then this morning, just waking up and seeing my husband, he's really funny. He has a sense of humor. And this morning he just received a funny email. And so immediately, the minute he saw me, he just started laughing and say, hey, you've got to look at this. And I mean, I'm not going to share the email, but that was just a joyful moment, and just seeing him like that. And a third one, gosh, was just getting out of bed, and the sun was shining. I looked out our balcony, and it was a beautiful day. And the fact that we have an ocean view, I love that. That gives me joy.
Yeah, that's heaven right there.
That's heaven right there.
Big joy.
Big.
Yes.
If we were to go to your closet, can you show me one thing that you will never let go of for the sentimental and emotional value it carries?
Okay. You know why I'm struggling? Because it's more than one thing.
Tell us.
Okay, so certain shawls or scarves that have sentimental value because they were given to me by my mom. I have at least, she's deceased now, and she has these shawls and scarves that were beautiful, that were bought from northern India from years ago. They're antique now. And she gave them to me during my last trip there, and then my mother passed shortly after that. So I think I will always hold on to them. And I do have a couple of things that are her jewelry. So yeah, I will hold on to those forever.
Beautiful. Well, this may be an unfair question. Others answer it differently, and you'll know why in a second. If you could hold a special power, what would that special superpower be? And it can't be coming back to life or time travel because you already embraced those. But it could be worldly or otherworldly, playing an instrument but if you could have a special power, what would it be?
Okay, so if it's a worldly, I would love to expand my energy to the point where it uplifts everybody I encounter, everybody in the room that I'm in, no matter how big the room, without me even having to say a word, where they just all feel joyful and uplifted, and I'm actually working on it.
Oh, I love that.
Beautiful.
I
Me
love that.
too.
All right, last question. If you were a nail polish color, what color would you be and what would your cheeky little name be? I think we know
Rainbow.
what. Oh,
Oh,
rainbow.
rainbow.
I thought
Love
you were going to
that.
say purple or violet because of all of your surroundings.
Yes. But rainbow, because it encompasses all the colors, then I don't have to
Ah,
choose. Okay, so one thing about me, I can be extremely indecisive.
Huh.
I it's like ask me to choose an ice cream flavor. I need more than one.
you need all of them.
I need all of them. Ask me to choose a color. I need all of them.
And what's the cheeky little
Ah,
name?
what would you call your nail polish?
What would I call my nail polish? Oh,
I,
I
I
would
have the
call it.
best name.
Oh, I'd love to know your name, but
The Rainbow Bridge,
oh,
which is the
wow.
Oh,
connection
Yes,
between
the
the
yes.
connection
sign.
between the two
Hello.
Oh,
worlds.
that's very
Yes.
good. Okay, that's very
Yeah.
good.
Oh gosh, I wish I could steal that, but I
You
need
can
to come
have
up with.
it. It's
Yeah,
all yours.
she's giving it to you.
Oh, thank you. That's the best name. That's the best name. I love it.
Oh, thank you so
Thank you
much.
for your
This was such
time.
a pleasure.
Thank you. It was a pleasure for me as well. I mean, my energy has expanded so much after talking to the two of you. I
As have
loved this.
ours. And
That's
I'm
really
sure our
nice.
listeners will feel the same. We have so many beautiful, artists that are just on the verge of expanding. So,
Yeah.
this sort of spiritual communication and understanding to tap into their source will feed into their art, which will then feed into the world, I think.
Especially for young people today. And there's a lot. They're carrying a lot young, kids in their
They are.
20s. It's tough, man. And so one of our goals is to we're just putting light. And
Yep.
that's a place they can come for a little light.
I
So that's the
love what
goal.
you're doing. I love
Thank
it.
you.
And I love that you're targeting young people. That's so important. Yes. And young people today are much more open than a lot of the people from years ago.
I think that's
Agreed.
really true. And thank you again. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Best
I
of
loved this.
things. Thank you.
Now, what struck a chord with us? You close your perfect. Oh, look how she fades out. Oh my
Oh my.
God.
Okay, this is the first time
Wow, that's so
any guest,
fancy.
and she also has a trademark.
Oh.
What's wrong with
And
us?
it's
Well,
a
no,
rainbow. Her trademark is a
is a
rainbow.
rainbow and
Wow.
the eternity sign. Okay, I just have to look at this logo for a while.
How do
I
we
must
get that?
admit, I don't know. I saw it on her website, but boy, does this have major impact when the image of her disappears and then this comes onto the screen.
I love it.
That's
I love it.
beautiful. All right.
That was so
I have,
special.
oh, really beautiful. Now, is
Yeah.
she still with us? It
I
looks
don't
like she's
know.
still logged in.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how to
Okay.
boot her out, but
She's ever present. So,
she's
she's on
never
the
leaving
street
us.
looking into every single apartment. Okay.
All right.
I have big feelings about so many things.
Oh, she just
And,
left. Okay.
well, okay. Um, it makes me feel in the same time all the more human and all the more spiritual, if that makes sense. Like, I do know that the source is inside of us. I also know that we were built in the likeness of something bigger than ourselves, and yet we're constantly being pulled into the world. Like, it goes back to the conversation, head, heart, spirit. Like, how are you in tune and able to balance and navigate all of those things? Because I can be very much aware of the joy of something and still be in the elements that will control my next step. Does that make sense?
It does. Well, it was kind of the question that I was trying to ask. Like, who is the they that's controlling things and putting these, but also why are we here? Like, is this a school? Are these life lessons?
Yeah.
I tend to believe that you come back again and again until you learn the really important lessons that
I
you
think
need
she
to.
answered that with the idea of when she was in the other world, she got to see herself in different lights. So
Yeah.
I think that did substantiate what you just said, that our energies continue on in other forms and experiences and times. Now, here's where I have trouble. If there is no time, then we're experiencing that essentially in the same moment, but then what? Different planes? Like, I'm not scientific in that way. But my smaller self, and I'm going to own it with love. I'm not like, invalidating my ideas or thinking I'm not worthy, but I can't conceive. I can't buy into that everything's happening everywhere all at once at the same time. It's just too big for me to possibly comprehend. And so instead of that being something that frees my spirit, it actually paralyzes my spirit. If that makes sense, it's just
Interesting.
too big. I can't move forward. So I need to understand that I like the contract idea. I was raised on that with my voice teacher that whatever was decided, good, bad, or indifferent, it's all part of the larger plan.
Yeah.
And it's not that negative, positive energy, right?
Yeah. I
It's
believe that
just
too.
this is happening because you'll look back 3 years and go, that's exactly, I needed that building block in order to get through this moment or to succeed in this moment,
Or
right?
I might not even know why it's happening, but at some point I will need this lesson down
Right,
the line. Yeah.
right. Making a reason out of it does feel right to me. And I do believe that my energy, once leaving this particular body, it will find its way to another life source to continue on. It may not be me in this physical form, but it certainly will be all of the cracklies that make me, just in a different body or different space.
Well,
Or
I'd like to just learn the lessons and not come back again. I don't need another
you're
go
done. You
around
feel
this
like you're
merry-go-round.
done.
No, I'm good. I'd like to finish out this merry-go-round ride, and I'd like to move on to whatever other options I might have except coming back to Earth.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Unless we turn Earth into slightly more of a paradise than it is through this one. Do you know what I
Have you?
mean?
Yeah, sure. Have you ever done regression? Have you
Yeah.
ever know? Okay. Do you have past lives?
I know of a couple that I think I had. Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
know of them, but did they resonate with you, or did it feel
Big
like
time.
something?
Oh
Oh, it
no, it
did.
felt
Oh, it
like
did. It did.
I felt the feelings and all of it. It was a lot.
Yeah, I've never done past lives. I've had one healer say, "Have you ever done homework on Atlantis?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "You should. I feel like you lived in Atlantis,"
Oh,
which
that's
is
so
interesting because I
neat.
have a beautiful, complicated relationship with the sea. You know how I panic when it's seafood, like literally, y'all. Marilee's laughing, and I'm embarrassed to say this out loud because it
Because you
seems
were a mermaid. That's
irrational.
why you can't eat
I
your
was the
brethren.
queen of Atlantis, everyone. And my minions were the shrimp and the lobster and the fish that I
You will
cannot eat
not
in
eat
this
your
world.
minions. That's right.
Correct.
It
Correct.
makes
They're my
perfect sense.
family. No, mm-mm. No, but I've never done it. I think I could be open to it. But yeah, no, I'm like you said, what we used to think was completely cuckoo. The Stephanie that would be so sure and say, absolutely not. That's conspiracy theory. No, you're talking ridiculous. No, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Now I'm like,
Oh,
I don't know
maybe.
what's real.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't.
I
I
can't wait for
don't.
the aliens to come down. I would really enjoy meeting
I don't
some.
need them.
Oh
I don't
no,
need
I'd
them.
like to meet some.
I don't need them. Nope. We met some in our last episode. It's rocky. I feel good about that. That's as far as I need to go.
Well, I have, my little group of coven. The four of us go out to dinner, and we got on this subject because they're having it like a UFO thing up in New Hampshire, and I'm like, you guys, we have to go. And
Y'all.
two of them, the two Taurians, because there's 3 Taurus, and we're all like, oh my God, yeah, we're totally going. And then the 4th woman's like, what is wrong with all of you? Have you never seen a movie? It never ends well when you go in
No.
search of the UFOs. What is wrong with you?
No.
I am not allowing this. Not allowing.
No.
So
Close
funny.
encounters of the whatever kind, y'all. Da, na, na, na. What is that little melodic thing they play? Don't go. Don't
I'm
go.
totally going. I'm going to have a
With the
little
tinfoil hat and the
a
thing and
sign
this-
like, beam me up. I want to see them. I want to meet some. I got lots of questions.
It does have to be very frustrating for Anita, though, to have, this experience, this elevated experience, and then
Yeah.
come and be in your circle of friends, and you're like, no, this is not the point. No, this is not where
Yeah.
we should be focusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
it's
has
true.
to be isolating in some case, for sure. Yeah.
I think she talked about that in her first book, saying
She
that
did.
she got really kind of depressed, like, because she
She did.
couldn't connect with people on it, Anyway,
Yeah.
she was really cool to talk to. I'm
Oh.
so glad we had this chat. How fun.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you. I love
too.
you.
I'll
Bye.
let you know how the UFO thing goes. Bye.
Na, 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 na.
Stages podcast is produced by Mary Lee Fairbanks and Stephanie J. Block. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Join us on social media pages or sign up for the mailing list at stagespodcast.net. That is also where you will find Stages swag. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share and rate and review the show. It really helps us grow. Big thank you to Noah Kaiserman and Garrett Healy for the original music, and Allison Arns, who has been with us since day one. See you soon.